Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Don't worry, there will be an 8 PM show, but I just felt that this deserved a quick video talking about Semenyo, but also what Ruben Amorim said about transfers in January. I feel I just need to make a video about this and get my point across, because he said on January plans, what we cannot do is reach January and try to do everything with urgency and make mistakes again and be left saying, here we go again. We're going to continue with our plan. The club comes first. I don't like this statement. I don't like this statement. This reminds me of Ten Hag in year 2 and Amorim in year 2, where they start off in the first year speaking a lot of sense and then they have a summer off and it's almost like they get indoctrinated into Glazonomics and they start talking like a Poundland Glazer. I don't get what he's saying here. I've seen people reacting to it saying, oh, I quite like what he's saying. We can't rush into mistakes. That would be valid if Bruno and Mainoo had got injured yesterday and we had 1 day left in the window and you panic buy. This is the middle of December and, well, you know, almost the middle of December, coming towards the end of December. We needed a midfielder in the summer. I am not having it that, you know, the manager of Man United is spewing out employee bollocks from the Glazers about we don't want to rush in January. It's the same thing John Murtagh said. It's the same thing Ed Woodward said. There's this weird obsession with the January transfer window equaling panic. It's a transfer window. It's a small, middle of the season transfer window, which is an opportunity to bring players in that are going to make you better, which is what Man City did. It's what Chelsea have done. It's what Liverpool have done. And we can't just go, we're not going to do anything in January because it's a panic. It's not a panic. And also, could I ask Ruben Amorim, what mistakes are you talking about that we've done, that we're going to do again? You've only been here for 2 transfer windows. Are you saying that Dorgu was a mistake? Are you saying that players that you bought in the summer were a mistake? What is it you mean when you say we're not going to act with urgency and make mistakes again and be left saying, here we go again? I don't remember any mistakes in the January transfer window. I mean, Bruno Fernandes was bought in a January transfer window. Most of the things we've done, most of the times we've ignored it. So maybe we should try something that's worked for us in the past and it would certainly work now. As for kicking the ball down the aisle, I mean, look, I did a video on That's Football earlier. Liverpool have just lost Isak with a broken leg. If they don't go for Semenyo or somebody else, they're idiots. And if we don't buy a midfielder in January, we're idiots. There is basically 1 space left in the Champions League, I believe, and that's going to be us or probably Liverpool or maybe Villa if they collapse. To do that, we've got to improve in the second half of the season. We can't replicate what we've done in the first half of the season. Like we've got 2 wins in the last 8 Premier League games. So we need to improve in the second half of the season. You saw what Martinez did in the second half yesterday. He just sat there, disciplined, took the ball, tackled the ball and gave it to the better players like Cunha and Mount. That is what we need for the rest of the season. That's that discipline and composure. And that needs somebody coming in. So I'm a little bit worried about Amorim when he's saying that, you know, we don't want to rush into things in January. The club comes first. This sounds like somebody who's paying their fucking mortgage. This doesn't sound like somebody, you know, it's like going out on a Christmas night out with, you know, all your mates and going, I know it's Christmas and I know this could be a memorable night and we could have a great night, but I'm telling you now, I'm not spending more than a tenner. You know, ideally in the summer, I'd like to have another night out. So I'm not going to spend that much money. And it's ridiculous. You got to live in the moment in football. It's an entertainment sport. And I don't like it that Amorim is talking like a Glazer. I mean, maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but I just think, look at the league table. Look at what's happened to Bruno. Look at what's happening with Mainoo. Look at how bad Agate was. Look at how old Casemiro is. And tell me that midfield's good enough to get us to the Champions League. We need to do something there. Which brings me on to Semenyo, because Sky Sports have spoke this afternoon about how Semenyo might make his decision today about whether it's Man City or Man United or maybe Liverpool. I don't think that's going to happen. I was speaking to somebody about an hour ago and they said, very unlikely. Why would he announce it on the 22nd December? We have seen people announce on Boxing Day. I think Gakpo went to Liverpool on Boxing Day, so it can happen before January the 1st. But this is going to come from Romano. This is going to come probably from Ornstein. So what we're waiting for is Semenyo doing what Mbeumo and Cunha did, where he says he's not interested in anybody else. He's only interested in Manchester United. The indication is that that's more likely to be Liverpool if Liverpool go for him. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it would be very exciting to sign Semenyo, but I will say it again, that's going to cost £65 million. And I do find it preposterous that we're going to spend another 60 odd million pounds on another number 10/winger when we've already bought 2 in the summer. We've still got Mason Mount. We've got Bruno Fernandes. We've got Ahmad. And we're going to neglect the midfield again. I find it incredible. And that is nothing negative about Semenyo, who's a very talented player. And I think if he went to Liverpool or Man City, it's a really good signing for them as well. So it's got to be a really good signing for us. But I find it incredible, and it concerns me that maybe, just maybe, the people who are running our football club don't know what they're doing. And you and I know more than them of what's best for Manchester United. Because ultimately, you're asking us to trust Sir Jim Radcliffe, Joel Glazer, Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, and Ruben Amorim. And I sort of look at them and go, who out of you knows anything about Man United, and who out of you has got a track record of being good in the Premier League? None of you. Barada at Man City was a COO, and, ultimately, he wasn't the reason Man City were good. So it panics me a little bit that we're going to spend a load of money on Semenyo. Now, look, let's imagine we do, and we don't. Worst case scenario, we buy Semenyo, we don't buy a midfielder, we wait till the summer. Semenyo comes in, and within a month, he's playing like Mbeumo. He's not producing what he was producing at Bournemouth week in, week out. He's struggling in the system. He becomes what Man United players can become. And also, we are scoring a lot of goals. Like, fundamentally, we are scoring a lot of goals. We are creating more chances than we have done in the last 5 years. We are scoring more goals. Adding Semenyo, there's only so many you can score. Like, if you score 4 against Bournemouth and you sign Semenyo, you're not necessarily going to score 6. That's just not how it works. If I'm looking at Man United now, I'm going, okay, 4 goals against Bournemouth, scored a few against Wolves, probably should have scored 2 against Villa. We're averaging around 2 goals a game. That's good enough. That's going to be good enough most weeks if you're not averaging conceding 2 goals a game. Our problem is conceding goals, and our solution seems to be to try and score more goals. When actually the logical thing is, look at the goal. I'm not interested in scoring more goals. We're scoring goals. We're creating chances. We could finish better, but we are creating those chances. Man United buying another forward just seems like overkill. Where I'm looking at United, I'm going, what about the goals we're conceding? And analysing every goal we've conceded this season, most of them come from mistakes. Most of them do. And a lot of them come from the midfield not protecting the defence. And look at Villa yesterday, 2 counter-attacks, basically. So if I'm Man United and I'm looking at the January transfer window and I've got £60 million in my skyrocket, I'm thinking to myself, do I need another attacker? Or do I need a midfielder? And people can say, well, this is opportunist. Semenyo will be gone. You either get him now or you don't. And I completely get that. I really, really do. But if you're asking me whether £60 million spent on the midfield or £60 million spent on Semenyo is going to get us Champions League football in May, which will give us £100 million and better prospects, I genuinely believe the money needs to be spent on the midfield. I don't think Semenyo definitely gets us Champions League football. But I think a midfielder or 2 with that amount of money does. And that's my stance on it. So, as I said, worst case scenario, we spend the money, we don't get a midfielder, he doesn't get us Champions League football. He probably still scores some goals, but does he get us Champions League football? That's how I'm thinking about it, because I think he is a good player. Best case scenario, you get Semenyo and a midfielder, that solidifies the midfield, Semenyo scores a few goals, we get Champions League football. But we can't be in a situation where we don't get a midfielder, and that has to be the priority. And it's a huge risk to not do that. And it worries me that Ruben Amorim is talking about that might be a good idea. I've literally heard from him over the last couple of days about how sometimes you don't go for the priority, you go for something else. And I'm like, when does this work then? Sometimes you don't go for the priority. Can you tell me where that's worked before then? Because I don't think it does. I think priorities are the most important thing. When your house is on fire and your car's got no petrol in it, you don't pop to get the petrol in the car without phoning the fire brigade, do you? And I think, that midfield is on fire. For numerous reasons, it was on fire before yesterday. It's definitely on fire now, isn't it? With Bruno's injury and what's happening with Mainoo, which I do want to talk about at 8 o'clock, by the way. I sort of hinted it on the watch-along yesterday. I think with Mainoo, if he's back for Newcastle, I don't believe that calf injury. That calf injury, to put him completely out of the game yesterday, has to be, you can't play on that calf. You're telling me he's going to be fit enough to train in 2 days to play on Friday? Bullshit. He has to be out. If that is a genuine injury, he's got to be out for the Newcastle game. If he's back for Newcastle, I'm sensing resolvement talks of whatever reason he got left out for yesterday. And that could be a new, Amorim might have dropped him completely. Mainoo might have refused to play. Mainoo might have been on the bench and said, I'm injured. So it'd be very interesting with Mainoo, and we can discuss this later. I just don't buy the coincidence that the big game after the T-shirt incident where he was definitely going to start and he's not available at all, if he's back for Newcastle, I would say you could have played against Villa then. If you can't play on a Sunday because your calf's so bad, but you can play on a Friday, I'm calling bullshit. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. Anyway, lots for you to get your thoughts in. I just wanted to get a quick one out about that because I think it's very important. But I will be back with you live at 8 o'clock to answer all your questions and talk about a load of other stuff as well. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. I'll speak to you on the next one.